You are listening to the Rewrite the Rules podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Beth.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Harriet.
Rewrite the Rules podcast releases a new episode every Monday, and we're all about helping you achieve a happier and healthier relationship with food and your body.
We're real people with real life experiences, so you can expect us to be keeping it raw and real in each and every episode.
Don't forget to follow and subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you use, and share the love with a friend that you think will love this podcast.
Now, let's get on to the episode.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Rewrite the Rules podcast. You have got myself and Harriet today. And full disclosure for this episode, we have both got alcoholic beverages with us. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can see that I've got a French martini. What have you got, Harriet?
I have a red wine.
We are coming to you guys as our first episode in 2023. So we are wishing you guys a happy new year, and we hope you've had a really wonderful start to the year. But with it being a brand new year, a brand new month, we're going to be chatting to you guys about New Year's resolutions, because we know that most of you are going to be making them, us included. We love having a sit down and just planning out what we want to achieve for the next month, for the next year. And that's a very healthy habit to adopt. But we just want to make sure that you guys are, making goals in the healthiest and most sustainable way possible, because of course we want you guys to succeed.
I feel like in the past, 5 years, maybe more than that, there's been a little bit of negativity towards New Year's resolution. There was like one stage where everyone was like, New Year, new me. And then it moved on to New Year, same me. I don't know if you felt like this as well, but I feel there was a bit of negativity towards setting New Year's goals because it was like a bit cliche. But in actual fact, like I personally think if you get that energy of that New Year energy, you're feeling excited about wanting to make some changes, and especially positive changes, I think that can be really good and really beneficial. But exactly what Beth said, it's just important to do it in an effective way. And there's no point in setting extreme goals or, trying to change every single one of your quote unquote bad habits overnight. Like, you want to set yourself up for success, not for failure. So if that's you, if you resonate with that, if that's what you want, then stay here, because this is the episode for you.
Absolutely. And we just want you guys to be able to work smarter, not harder. We don't want you sort of getting to the end of January actually feeling really burnt out and really disheartened. We want you to feel accomplished and successful in whatever way you measure it. And as we've constantly reiterated on this podcast, you don't have to wait till a fresh year to make change. You don't have to wait till a fresh month, a fresh week. You don't even have to wait for a brand new day. You can make a change whatever time of day, whatever day of the year. It's just that we are recording this and this is being put out at the start of January. We want to make these podcast episodes as seasonal as possible. We know that you guys are going to be making resolutions. So we just want to help you be as successful as humanly possible. But I think the best place for us to begin is to sort of start with, why do we make resolutions at the start of January? Obviously, with it being a new year, it feels like a new beginning for a lot of people, which is why people make such massive resolutions during these times. The danger of that, because we are going to be talking about positives, but there is a big danger in setting these massive goals, because sometimes you can fall into the trap of just biting off more than you can chew and just ending up really overwhelmed, really burnt out, and possibly just giving up on what could have been a really healthy change for you. So obviously at Rewrite the Rules, we want you to be as successful and thriving as possible. That's why we're here. We also want to make sure that you do it in a really sustainable way. So some of the common New Year's resolutions some of you guys might be making, I actually did some research, and these are the top resolutions that are made worldwide. Number one being losing weight. I don't think that one's a shock. But other things are just adopting a healthier diet, increasing exercise, making better financial choices, quitting smoking, and just spending more time with family. So looking at the statistics, because we love numbers as well, studies have shown that only around 12% of people are actually successful in achieving their goals, but that New Year's goals are still worth making. It's just about making them more achievable. And like I said before, just working smarter, not harder. And of course, on the Rewrite the Rules podcast, we are going to be teaching you today how to do that.
Absolutely. And I was going to say again, like if any of those like common goals are your goals, because I'm sure you may be thinking, yeah, that I want to exercise more or whatever, that's okay. Obviously, you guys know our views about intentional weight loss if you are currently struggling with an eating disorder or disordered eating. If you're not aware, we don't recommend it. But if you do feel like you have a healthy relationship with food and weight loss is something that you want, don't feel judged for it. I think, again, like kind of what I was saying with the clichéness, is that a word? Now it is. The clichéness of setting New Year's resolutions. I feel like, I don't know if I'm the only one feeling this, but sometimes I feel like there's a bit of like shame and embarrassment, like, oh yeah, trying to eat healthier next year. And I guess that's just noise. Don't worry about it. If that's your goal, it's still completely valid, but let's make it an effective goal and an enjoyable goal.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that leads on very well actually to sort of like our first point is just making the goal realistic. If you are really struggling with your relationship with food right now, it isn't a realistic goal for you to go down the weight loss path. And that is the first question that you need to be asking yourself. Is whatever goal you are setting yourself realistic? The same with if you are considering taking up exercise. If you want to become a runner, it's not realistic for you to attempt 7 runs within 1 week. We want to be like starting off small. So you setting that big goal is only going to leave you feeling really overwhelmed, really probably injured, actually, like physically injured, mentally feeling completely burnt out. And you're probably going to manage a couple of days and then just decide, I'm not fit to be a runner. I give up now. Whereas if you'd have started off smaller, done a tiny little bit each week, by March or April, you might be able to achieve 3 or 4 runs within a week. It's just making your goals like super realistic and just tailoring that to whatever goal that you are considering setting yourself for the new year.
Absolutely. Just asking yourself, is this what I need right now? And obviously we've already covered in previous episodes, like, weight loss goals and, if you're struggling with your relationship with food. But if you're even still if that still feels like fuzzy for you right now, let's say you're struggling with binge eating, do you think a weight loss goal is suitable for you right now? Like, do you think that's realistic for you right now? Do you think that's what you need right now? Because I reckon if you ask yourself that question, you'd probably have that intuition to be like, probably not. And I think with like not just weight loss goals, but any kind of goal, like just asking yourself, is that appropriate right now? Is that what I need right now? I think just asking yourself that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so much. And just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
As well. And if you are not in a position to sort of think rationally for yourself, maybe ask a friend or ask like a trusted loved one or a partner. Ask someone who isn't like within your brain 24/7. Ask them, is this a realistic goal for myself? Because often I think in that position, a lot of people are going to be thinking, look, I've got all these issues with food, but weight loss is just going to fix all my problems. That's how weight loss has been sold to us. So it might be really difficult to ask yourself that question, is this realistic for me? So I suggest, looking outwards and actually asking someone else to give you their honest opinion as well.
100%. But the second tip we wanted to give you is put time into planning. So if you're someone who makes a decision like the night before and is like, rest, tomorrow I'm going to do this, we would maybe suggest us slowing down a little bit and just actually thinking, how can I realistically apply this to my life? how can I make sure that I stick to this? And I think this is also where time blocking really helps. So if you're trying to set a goal where you actually need to do something, actually thinking, where in my day and in my week will I actually be able to do this? So let's just say, this is just off the top of my head, one of your goals is to have like a morning routine. Think about what time will you wake up? And don't just say 5 a.m. because that's what everyone says. Like, if you're someone who likes to sleeping, maybe half an hour before your regular wake up, whatever time that is. It doesn't have to be 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah, 100%. If you're going to join the 5 a.m. club, you need to prepare for the 5 a.m. club, because I often used to be part of the 4 a.m. club. Actually, at my old gym, I still do enjoy sometimes going to the gym very early in the morning, but it's normally related to like my lack of sleep that evening. Like my favorite example for this is actually if you are joining the gym, because I think this is like the simplest example I can give. If you want to start going to the gym and you maybe want to make exercise part of your morning routine, you can't just be like, right, I really hope that I'm going to get to the gym tomorrow. Most of the time, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to have the motivation. Your brain is going to talk you out of it a lot of the time, even if the gym is going to fill you with positive endorphins, make you feel amazing. If you don't actually plan out, most of the time it doesn't happen. So ways that you could actually do this is, firstly, ensure you actually get to bed at a decent time. Secondly, plan ahead as far as getting your gym outfit ready. Like, what are you going to wear for the gym tomorrow, to save your brain thinking about it in the morning? Get your shoes ready. Get your, I don't know, if you take like a pre-workout, or get your drink of water ready, get your bag packed, everything like that. All those little steps will actually make it more likely that you actually wake up in the morning. You don't have to think about much. You can just stick the clothes on your body and walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that tiny little bit of planning, it would take you like not even 5 minutes to achieve that. But then you are more likely to actually, get out of the house in the first place, make it to the gym, and start working towards the goals that you want to achieve as well.
Yeah.
So just taking that time is so important.
Absolutely. I love that. That's really helpful. Our third tip is focus on one goal at a time. Sorry for anyone who has like more than one, but we really recommend that you stick with just one. And I actually had this the other day. There's probably a quote, but I'm not going to try and quote it because I don't want to ruin it. But the premise of the quote was, it's better to do one thing really, really well rather than do 5 things in an average way, in a mediocre way.
I feel like there's like a quote for that as well. There's like another quote. Is it, what is the quote? Master of,
okay, we're Googling it. I know exactly. Master of...
No, master of none. Something of lots, master of none.
Yeah. Okay, we're typing, guys. Aha, I got it. Okay. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. I don't get it.
Okay, no, I just stick to the first part of the quote. I've only ever heard the first part of that quote.
The second part ruins it. Okay.
I think you can take that approach as well to literally everything. The same as if you're writing a to-do list. I was such a bugger for writing a to-do list that was like 25 points long. And do you know what I achieved in that day? Jack shit. Nothing, because you overwhelm yourself. Your brain just feels fried because you are like, how do I achieve all of these things all at once? And, as much as we want you guys to be like super duper successful, we also want you to be kind to yourself, to remind yourself you've only got so many hours in a day. And we want you to give your energy to all aspects. We don't want you neglecting things like self-care, things like time with your family, and all that. So just focusing on one goal at a time allows you to put all your energy and like thinking power into actually achieving one thing. And once you've achieved it, you can then move on to the next. But if you've got like a New Year's resolution list that is a mile long, you want to start running, you want to read 12 books, you want to do X, Y, and Z, oftentimes, not that you can't succeed, but sometimes you may be setting yourself up for burnout and possible failure. And we want you guys to succeed.
Yeah. And I think the worst thing is like you lose confidence and you start to lose that trust within yourself. And I think that self-trust is so important, especially if you're someone who's listening and you set yourself goals in the past, but then you haven't stayed consistent. Maybe you're already feeling like you don't even believe yourself right now. You've set these goals, but you're like, inside, you're like, no, it's not going to work for me. I know myself too well. That's is evidence of a breakdown in trust within yourself. And to build that back up, set one goal, focus on that, and that will show yourself, okay, I can keep my own promises.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that you sort of touch back on like previous behaviors. Like, look at the New Year's resolutions that you made last year. If you made any, did you succeed in any of them? Are you just every year getting to sort of the end of December and be like, right, I'm going to write out the same list that I've written out for the past 5 years now? If you aren't still achieving them, something needs to change, whether it's the type of goals you are setting, whether it's just your approach. Don't feel scared to actually just mix it up. Set yourself some different goals, or whatever goal you've got, slice it in half. If you're like, I want to run a 10K, I know I keep like reflecting back on running, but I feel like it's one of the biggest goals that people set themselves. Aiming for a 10K, maybe just try and like aim for a 5K first, or like a 2K, and like build up. You can always build up from places, but you know, once you've set yourself those goals in January, it's so easy to get disheartened because there is all this pressure, and because you are also surrounded by people that are seemingly succeeding because everyone's doing the same thing. So it's just super, you know, easy to get disheartened, and it's just really important to try and like look after yourself as well in January.
100%. I completely agree. Tip number 6 is remember change is a process.
Yeah, change obviously is a process. And I think that's the danger with social media, especially maybe over like the past 2 years with like things like TikTok and Instagram coming to the forefront. We see people's successes all the time. You know, like a quick before and after picture can leave you feeling so unaccomplished, like you haven't progressed at all. You often forget how long it takes people to actually get to the position they get to. And that's just like physically, like we always focus on people's physical appearance, like what we are seeing visually, but also like mental transformations. When we are talking about things like repairing your relationship with food, there are so many facets to it and so many challenges along the way. It could take people years to find what they probably describe as like food freedom, which like isn't displayed very well when we go onto social media and just see one picture compared to another. One of my favorite pictures is when they draw like the linear graph of progress, and it's literally, it looks like a roller coaster going like up and down, up and down, up and down. And I know it's hard to understand that when it's you experiencing it, but I think it's just about being forgiving of yourself and knowing that there are going to be good days, bad days, days where you feel like you are taking 3 steps back, which I promise you aren't, but it might feel like that. And yeah, just like trusting the process as well. That's like a massive one. Just know that every day that you are waking up and trying your best, you are progressing.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. That's just perfect. Our next tip is tip number 7, and that's get support. So we thought this was a really important tip because, again, sometimes it feels like I need to do this all by myself. We get that New Year energy, which is an amazing kind of energy, but sometimes I think we can take on the world. I'm not saying that you can't take on the world, but
go get it.
But go get it. But if you need help to go get it, then seek that out. But yeah, in all seriousness, your progress will speed up significantly if you seek help, and especially if you seek professional help. So if it is about your relationship with food, relationship with exercise, you know, even if your relationship with food is absolutely fine, but you're really looking to progress in the gym, let's just say you have fitness goals, maybe invest in like a fitness coach or a PT, right? I know it's expensive, but if you're really serious about that goal, then maybe make that investment with yourself, because that support will help you so much. Obviously, if it's the right person, it's the right context. I know I don't need to go into that, but I feel like you get the point. Seek support, get someone to help you.
100%. And I think it's just because like motivation doesn't get you as far as you think it might. Like you might get to like the second week of January and be like, I'm not motivated anymore. No one is motivated 24/7, and that's okay and that's normal. But that's why it is also so important to share your goals with people, accept the support from people, and especially like you mentioned in coaches, like they keep you accountable, they keep you motivated, but they also provide you, at least like, you know, most reputable coaches provide you like a sustainable and healthy path for you to follow, to save you like going in too hard and too fast. And I know like you start January and you're just so eager to see results, like whatever results you are seeking to achieve, whether it's, you know, being able to have a better relationship with food and things like that. You want that freedom straight away. And we love that optimism and motivation for you. But just having the right support system around you to make sure you're not going too hard too quickly, or that when you do lapse in motivation and maybe you like question your why and you think, oh, why am I doing this? This is too difficult. I can't see a path forward, that you've got someone to actually like just help you realign your thoughts, realign your mindset, and just like encourage you to move forward. But also like following on really well from that, it's just like renewing your motivation. So what we really encourage everyone to do, doesn't matter your goal or what you want to achieve, to actually sit down and think about why you want to make the changes that you want to change. If you do want a better relationship with food, why do you want a better relationship with food? Like, what are you missing out on right now? Like, what is your driving force? If you want to start eating a little bit better, a little bit more mindfully, why? Like, what is your current experience? Where do you want to be? What is that driving force? If you want to become a runner, why do you want to become a runner? Like, what are going to be the positives for you? Thinking, I don't know, if you want to spend more time with family or friends, you want to socialize a little bit more this year, you want to go traveling a little bit more this year, why do you want to do these things? And just asking yourself these questions, just like taking some time in like a quiet space with just like a piece of paper and a pen, and just write them down. Doesn't matter whether it's like 30 bullet points long, amazing. But just when you are sort of waning with motivation, or maybe feeling a bit of a wobble on your path and be like, should I continue forward? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I start this? Just reminding yourself of those whys, like that is what is going to boost you when motivation leaves, because we aren't going to feel motivated all the time. And I think people, especially at the start of the year, rely too much on motivation. And when it disappears, they're just like, well, what was the point?
Yeah.
When sort of accepting that this is just like any other emotion, it's going to ebb and it's going to flow, it's going to come back, it's going to disappear. And just having that list there for you to just reflect back on when you are struggling, I think is really important.
100%, especially if you're someone who like 1 minute you really want something and the next minute you just cannot even remember why you set this goal in the first place. Have a list. I say to my clients, put it on your phone, put it next to your bed, put it in your journal. Don't make a list and then put it in your drawer where you never see it.
Yeah.
You know, have it on your phone, screenshot it and set it as your wallpaper.
100%. Or even if you've got like a super, like one of your favorite motivational quotes that like reminds you of your purpose or your journey, put that as your wallpaper.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple, but it's literally, we touch our phones probably thousands of times a day, whereas that little scrunched up piece of paper in your drawer is going to get lost forever, and you're going to find it in like 2027.
That's funny. Our, our last tip for you guys on this is just be flexible and adapt. Don't expect perfection. We don't expect perfection of you. Like what Beth said with the graph, the roller coaster graph, that's realistic. And, you know, over time, even if your journey looks like up and downs, you can still progress, you can still win, you can still achieve your goal. So just be flexible with it. If something goes wrong and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't working for me, or maybe this exactly what I'm doing right now isn't working, so you need to change approach, allow that to happen. If you need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the drawing board. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just focus on you. If you set a goal, just keep focusing on your progress.
If you allow yourself to be too rigid, the second someone, because you can't control everything, we want to control everything, but you can't control life, unfortunately. You can't prepare for every situation. So the second something like knocks us off course, if we aren't flexible, we end up just having what I'd probably describe as a meltdown. And you are more likely what it is, isn't it? Like, you are more likely to just throw in the towel. And to give like an example, especially when I was like still struggling with my relationship with food and my relationship with exercise, especially when I was like deep into not fueling my body well enough or with enough food, my brain would be frazzled. And sometimes on occasion, I'd like turn up to the gym without my fitness watch on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if I was flexible in that situation, I'd be like, no worries, doesn't matter, carry on with my workout. I'm here, let's be present, let's enjoy it. Instead, I would just spend the next session just anxious, panicked. And that is the danger of being too rigid. That's the danger of being too reliant on having all these boxes ticked. Obviously, now I can just walk around a whole week without having the watch on, and that's progression. But that's the danger of perfection, and that's the danger of having to have everything perfect. You just end up completely frazzled, and that's not healthy at all. What we want is for you to be able to adapt and just continue on. And I think a lot of people will like relate to that with the sort of focus on fitness and exercise. A lot of people are going to be wanting to move their bodies more in January. So just like emphasizing that doesn't have to be perfect. If you forget your headphones, it's fine. If you forget your watch, it's fine. If you're wearing your leggings inside out, like I sometimes did, my brain like that frazzled. I've turned up to the gym with leggings back to front, sports bras inside out.
It's fine.
You remind, fuel your body properly first, please, before but in any exercise facility. But that you've just got to roll with it and just adapt.
Yeah, remember, guys, life's not that serious.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. Like, I think just taking that mantra with you, like, life's not that serious. That's one of my favorite reminders, because especially if you get caught up about really little things and triggered by really little things, I want you to write down life's not that serious and have it somewhere that you can see. Because at the end of the day, when you think about it, the important things in life really distill to like a couple of things. Probably like your relationship like with people, like your loved ones, and then your health, when you really distill it down. So if you forget your Apple Watch, you're fine.
We just want you guys to be, you know, as healthy and as happy as possible. But as always, and like we've been preaching since we started this podcast, you don't have to wait till January. You don't have to wait till a specific week or a brand new day. If it's like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday, you can still start adopting healthy habits and making positive change.
So just in the podcast, we thought we would do something very rogue and very different, but just a bit of fun. But I thought I would pull a tarot card for myself and Beth, and even Nat. I think I'll pull a card for Nat as well. I should also pull a card for our listeners at the end as well. Okay, I'm going to do Beth, Nat, me, and the new listeners. So make sure you stay. I love tarot cards. I love oracle cards because I think they allow us to use our intuition and just reflect. So it's just a bit of fun.
And also be optimistic as well.
Be optimistic as well. So Beth, I'm going to do you first. So we're going to see what 2023 has in store for Beth. Okay, Beth, tell me when to stop.
Stop, please.
You got the King of Swords.
Oh my God.
Should we see what the King of Swords means? I've got my little book. Okay, so the King of Swords is the epitome of integrity and logic. He applies his high standards to both himself and those around him, and is fair and impartial. The only side he takes is the one of the right. The King of Swords solves problems and enacts justice in a swift and decisive manner. It's always business, never personal with this card. Wow. Meditate on this card as motivation for leading with integrity and having the courage of your convictions. The King of Swords can help you root yourself in the truth, even when everyone and everything else wavers. Do you need to rise above backstabbing and infighting? The King can help you do so with authority. And while your actions may not always be popular, you can be sure you're on the side of the good.
I was, especially at the beginning, like I always say, like it's my way or the highway.
I guess this card is all about just doing the right thing and just acting with like reason, even if other people around you are acting with emotion and it doesn't make any sense. So guys, Natalie couldn't make this podcast episode because she's sick, but she's still with us in spirit. But Natalie has the 5 of Wands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like this. It's a bit mysterious, that one.
I don't think I've seen that one before.
The 5 of Wands represents the daily hassles of life, the things that by themselves don't seem to be a big deal, but when they happen one after the other, finding your way through the day gets hard. The 5 of Wands card usually depicts 5 figures wielding poles as if they're practicing combat. This card signals irritation, pettiness, egos, and futile contests. It reflects situations where we may find ourselves arguing for the sake of it or just acting petulantly. I hope I said that right. But on the flip side, it can also represent healthy competition and debate. Natalie, if you're listening, meditate on the 5 of Wands to help you discern which hassle is worth your attention. Is going back and forth with your colleagues about the location of the recycling container a good use of your energy? Or is it better to go back and forth with your local authority about the city's recycling plan overall? Only you get to decide what's worth getting worked up over.
I love that message.
Same?
That comparison.
It was kind of like the Apple Watch situation that we were talking about. Okay, I'll quickly do one for myself, and then listeners, you will get one as well. Okay, so for me, I had the star.
That's amazing.
Thank you. The star card carries a message to look inside, to go deep, and to remember how and why you started. It is calling to the university student who just screwed up yet on another exam, to the parent of a longed-for child who won't stop screaming her head off in her cot, to anyone who finds himself lost and questioning why they're even here. Allow the star to bring forth a talisman, a memory, or a flash of insight that reminds you of the why of whatever you're facing. Meditate on this and keep it with you. Make it your own personal North Star.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that. That's like exactly.
Isn't it? Okay, final card for our listeners. So Beth, can you please tap into our listeners' energy and tell me when to stop?
I'm tapping in by holding my cup of wine. Okay. 3, 2, 1, stop.
Okay, listeners, you have the 6 of Pentacles. So what does that mean? I'll tell you. The 6 of Pentacles reflects the have-nots, and the balance of power between these two groups. The card often shows 2 people kneeling on the ground with their hands raised to accept coins coming from them. Whether the message of the 6 of Pentacles is positive or negative will depend upon the context. It can represent power plays and domination, or it can represent giving and receiving and the ability to accept offers of help. Meditate on the 6 of Pentacles to closely examine the relationships in your life, and the material balances of power that define them. Is someone using your money and power to exert their dominance over you? Are you perhaps doing this to someone yourself? What actions could either or both of you take in order to correct this? The Six of Pentacles also asks you to look at the why behind any imbalance. Are you allowing it to continue by not standing up for yourself? This card can help you even the score.
But all four have been amazing.
Yeah, me too. You know what? I feel like with this one, for our listeners, I really feel like it's consuming content that is actually going to help you.
Yeah.
And just
And
being...
that's why you are
Oh,
here.
go on. Yeah, that's why you're here. I hope, like, knowing that you're listening to something, or you're following someone because they have good intentions and they're not just trying to like entice you in, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're ethical. And I know that's something that for the Rewrite the Rules podcast, that's something that's like really important for us, is to be honest and transparent, and give disclaimers when we need to give disclaimers, and give ethical guidance. So that's what came up for me with that card.
And I think that the notion of like making sense of the noise as well, that is like one of our sort of goals. If we know that there's so much information, harmful information and harmful people out there as well, and that we are sort of trying to plow through that.
Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, let us know. But this has been a cute episode. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. Happy 2023. We hope you've had like a really positive start to the year. If you haven't, that's okay too. If it doesn't feel really motivational, really magical, really life-changing, that's okay. But reflecting on what I said earlier, you can have a fresh start regardless of the day. If it's the 11th of January and you're listening to this and you want a fresh start, you can have it right now. So this is your sign that if you're having a motivational one, amazing. We are here cheering you on. If not, we are here to support you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast throughout 2022 and supporting our podcast. Every share, comment, review, like we've had a couple of like really amazing reviews come through, and we're just like so grateful for you guys gifting us your time in exchange for what we hope is really beneficial, motivational, usable information.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And the podcast has a lot in store for 2023. We're going to be getting more guests on, and people that we hope that you know and you love. We hope to have conversations with them, but also people who, don't necessarily have a following, but just have really good advice and have had experience with the stuff that maybe you're going through as well. So we can still keep it raw, real, and relatable. So if you're not already following, please make sure you follow, just so that you don't ever miss an episode. And you can also follow us on Instagram, and that's Rewrite the Rules Pod. And if you ever want us to talk about something, just make sure you give us a DM and we'll add it to our list.
So from myself, from Harriet, from Natalie, we wish you guys an amazing 2023. Happy New Year to all of you. And we hope you love this podcast. And if you do, follow for more.
Absolutely. See you in the next episode, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.